In this video, we're going to dive deeper into understanding how our subconscious mind is actually programmed, but on a deeper chemical level. So there's a widespread saying that goes that everything starts with a thought. And everything really truly starts with a thought, because the moment you have a thought in your brain, there's a biochemical reaction that occurs in your brain that causes a certain chemical to be released in your body, right? So basically, the moment you have that thought, it becomes the electromagnetic impulse that travels through your body and becomes a chemical messenger. This is basically literally how your thought becomes a matter. So the moment you have that, the moment that those chemicals are released, it makes your body feel in a certain way. So certain thoughts will lead you to have a certain feelings. The moment you feel in that way, you will create even more thoughts equal to that feeling. So before long, you will notice that you're getting trapped in the loophole of thinking, creating your feeling, and your feeling creating your thinking. So how do, like, and with certain times and with repetition, with time, like by repeating the same thinking and the same feeling, those thoughts and feelings, they become your automated programs. So this loophole of thinking and feeling, you actually hardwire your brain and body into the same patterns, same repeatable patterns. And the more you repeat thinking and feeling in the same way, the more neurons they fire and wire together. In the neuroscience, it's called the Hebb's law. So the more neurons keep firing and wiring together, the longer they sustain that connection, the long-term connection. This is what's called long-term memory. And with time and repetition, they just become our automated programs. And that's how our subconscious mind is created, because our subconscious mind is exactly an automated programs. And with time, we start developing an automated mind for many things that we do. We have a certain automated mind for brushing our teeth. We have an automated mind for making our coffee. We have automated mind for driving our car, etc. Because those are just a set of automated programs. However, we need to be aware that while our conscious mind and our conscious thinking is actually our own thinking and our own awareness and our own intentions, but in subconscious mind, most of the time is programmed into us by our society, by media, by the movies we watch, by the songs, and most of the time those are disempowering and limiting belief, because they want you to believe that you need some other stimulus from outside of you to change in the way how you feel inside of you. So most of the time we have this certain void inside ourselves that we're trying to fill in and fulfill for some kind of outside stimuli, instead of actually going inside ourselves and seeing what's going on there, instead of following the other people, other ships and their style of life, and comparing ourselves to other people, and instead of creating actually our own life and the life we truly believe and desire, and believe in ourselves. So that subconscious mind and subconscious program can be really, really tricky, because it can lead us into a really dark place. So how do we actually break even from that cycle? How do we reprogram our subconscious mind? So logically then, for us to reprogram our subconscious mind, we need to break free from this automated loopholes of thinking, creating feeling, and our feeling creating our thinking, right? So, but how do we do that? We will have to change the whole neural architecture in our brain in order to create the life we truly desire. But the question is how? How can we do that? And just for you to try to understand, like maybe giving you a little bit example of importance of having that new neurological architecture, new neurological set for your future, because look at it this way: if you don't have a Google Chrome installed on your computer, or if you don't have a Microsoft Office installed on your computer, there's no way you will be able to open a Microsoft of the Word document, for example, right? The same thing with your future. If you don't have right neural pathways and architecture installed in your brain, how are you going to recognize that new opportunity? How are you going to recognize that new partner of yours that you desire and dream about? How are you going to recognize that new you, or the new possibilities that will come your way of that new future? So it's really because we only can perceive of who we really are. But if you're trying to become someone else in order to achieve your goals that you've never been there, you definitely need to have certain neural and certain like mentality and certain neural architecture installed in there in order to become that person. So again, how do we do that? How do we reprogram our subconscious mind? And I guess the easiest and the simple answer to this question is why don't we need to just basically reflect on how we learned that subconscious mind. And as we already discussed in the previous videos, we learn our subconscious programs through through three main ways. Basically, in the early childhood, we do it through the observation, which is a state similar to hypnosis and meditation, when our brain works on the theta brain waves and we don't analyze any information, we just intake it and we accept it as real and as the truth. And the second way we learn it, it could be through some really strong emotional trauma. And the third way, it's through the repetition and habituation. In fact, is the strongest one is this repetition and habituation. So if we learn it to do it this way, so we can relearn the new programming exactly the same way, right? So I suggest to engage into 2 steps of how to reprogram our subconscious mind. The step number 1 is actually slow down your brain frequency, slow down your brain waves. And the second, and in that state, you can like reprogram and set the new programs there. And the second part, a second step, is actually engage in rehearsal and the repetition of the new programs, of the memories of your future, of the person that you want to become, of the way you want to think and feel and act. So we need to reprogram it again back into our mentality through the repetition and rehearsal. And we will actually dive deeper into this process when we will engage with the 5 practical tools of the goal setting implementation, because each of those tools will bring a part of the reprogramming to us. But to give you a slight hint, it's basically you need to set in back the new affirmations, you need to understand first of all what kind of person you need to become in order to achieve that new future and new goals of yours, and then you need to be aware of them. You need to become conscious, like really present. Slow down your brain waves and become present. How? One of the best ways to become present is to engage in the stuff that you truly love to do, that actually makes you feel present. Like maybe it could be like walking in the nature, painting, and things like this. A second way to slow down and become present is a meditation. It's actually the whole act of observation, observing your own thoughts and becoming conscious of them, which contributes considerably to the reprogram of subconscious mind. And there's also a great way of reprogramming subconscious mind. It's called Psyche. It's a new energy psychology field, and it basically what it does, it's based on brain synchronization, because usually our hemispheres they don't work in synchronically, but once you manage to reach that state, you can basically really easily install a new information, a new program into your subconscious mind. And now that we already spoke about the best ways to reprogram our subconscious mind, let's just like touch on when it's the best timing to actually reprogram our subconscious minds, because it's actually the best. We talked about observation, that it learns by observation. So this is a state of mind when our brain works in a really low frequency, which is theta brainwave frequency, and our brain naturally goes into that frequency right when we wake up, when we get out of our dream, and right before we're going to bed. So we sleep into that beautiful theta brainwave state in the moment. So those are the best times to actually reprogram our subconscious mind, right when we wake up and right before we're going to sleep. So yeah, just to recap, we looked at what is subconscious mind, where it sits in our limbic autonomic nervous system. It's responsible for 95 of automated programs that we have in our brain and body, and it learns basically through observation and repetition, and it's exactly the same way that we can actually reprogram it, just basically relearn to be the new person that we need to become. So I hope that makes sense, and I'll see you in the next videos.